So today, I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do, but I think I'm gonna keep continuing with what I was doing yesterday. Uh, Let me see. Let me see. No one's stopping you from seeing. No one's stopping. Let me see. What, is anyone stopping you from seeing? Okay, let me try. Let me see about. just kind of. Let's see. Like I'm back further than normal. Scared up just a smidge. My elbow needs room. I need an elbow room. I made a whole room for my elbow. I call it elbow room. It sleeps there. My elbow sleeps in its own elbow room. Okay. Alright, so let's see. My elbow needs space. I built it a house. Not a house, just a room. I call it elbow room. My elbow sleeps in the elbow room.
That's clever. Your elbow room in space. Want tips on making it cozy, or is there something specific you're figuring out?
Okay. I need my elbow room. I need my elbow room. Dang it. My elbow has its own masseuse in its elbow room.
Sounds like you're really feeling the pinch in that space. Want to share more about what's going on, or need ideas to reclaim your elbow room?
Okay. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna do guitar.
I'm right here. Whenever you're ready.
Okay, so I'm gonna continue on. What I'm thinking is I'm gonna continue on with now I think I'm on the minor modes, and I'm gonna think about the intervals that are in a minor mode that has a minor third, obviously. But then I'm going to think about the intervals that don't fit then in any, off of any mode, right? The intervals that don't pan out off of any mode is what I'm thinking now. So, well, so I'm going to be at 4 o'clock, meaning collection notes around the key of C. So if A is 1, A sharp is 2, B is 3, C is 4. 4 o'clock. Collection of notes around the key of C, no tonic being indicated by the clock face, and that's going to be so the Ionian is on C. I've got the nodal points, which are going to be absolute nodal points. 1 is Ionian, 2 is Dorian, 3 is Phrygian, 4 is Lydian, 5 is Mixolydian, 6 is Aeolian, 7 is Locrian. They stay fixed no matter what the tonal center is. I don't renumber the system. Like if I was playing in Dorian, I don't make it the 1 because that's dumb, and so we'll just keep it at 2. And then so then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna build my normal chords off of this Dorian node. I'm gonna start thinking about, well, actually maybe off of the minor node, start thinking about it. Let's actually look at this one. That's the 7th fret up. Well, let's look at the top string first. 5th fret. First string down from the ceiling, Aeolian, and I'm trying to think about like if I grab these intervals that are a little bit more exotic, like they're not even in the key, then I might have to reach in funny places. So that's why I think the most flexible spot would be right in the middle of the guitar, but at the same time I don't really want to reach above it if I can, because I'd like to keep the tonic as the lowest node in the system. Okay, so I'm going to start up here, and then I might move down there if I want to get more creative. So my idea being then, of course, that I'm going to that the normal system wants to pretend like we're always in major and minor, so it can structure everything on the 1, 4, 5 as either major or minor, and then kind of say the other ones fall wherever they will, and then we have flexibility to add colors on top of those. And the more I think about this, so I'm kind of just kind of trying to think through this, like how people are thinking about this now. and then how I'm thinking about it and what might be the pros and cons of going back and forth between the way you think about it, because I think any way you think about it's going to give you different ideas, right? So I mean, like, so it kind of seems like to me, like the reason people don't understand the modes, they're scared of the modes, is because traditional music wants to say, even jazz, maybe even more so jazz, wants to say we're in basically the major and the minor, and then that way I've locked in the 1-4-5 as either major or minor. That's such a cool coincidence that that's kind of the way it is, that kind of got locked in, it seems to me. So either you're in like the Ionian major, and in which case the 1-4-5, if I make this the 1, happens to be have a major third, and if you go to the minor, then I would make that Aeolian the 1, and you'd end up with the same L shape. The 1-4-5 would be the minor, and then on top of those nodal points, on top of those 1-4-5 tags, you start plugging in anything you want, which doesn't have to be major or minor, but the basic idea is I'm going to keep the minor third and then build whatever colors I want off of something that has the foundational components of the first and the third in particular. And then you can start naming the things you're going to build off of it as the modes. So you could, whatever, like, so some chords have the color, for example, of the Ionian. If you add the flat 7, you have a Mixolydian color, but it doesn't really matter because I'm just going to call it 1-4-5, and I'm not really thinking Ionian, Locrian, Mixolydian. I'm just thinking those are the pegs that I plug the allowed major constructions on, which would be like, so if I add a 7 onto any of those pegs, I'm going to have a major third and a minor 7. If I had so that would be a 7 chord, right? Or if I have a sharp, or if I have a 4 sharp or whatever, then it would be a Lydian flavor, right? But then I could add more exotic flavors that are outside, that aren't in any of them. As long as I have the major third, I'm going to still just kind of think about that as a color that I'm putting on top of one of the nodes that are a major node, which means that I've kind of gone outside of this whole idea of playing in a collection at that point, because I'm basically just saying these are the locations where the third is, and then I'm just going to do whatever I want after that, and I'm just going to use my ear to kind of figure out what the heck is happening. And so it gives you a level of freedom, but it seems like you don't know exactly what you're doing, which results in like only one person can solo at a time, for example, even a very small band, like a 3-piece band or something, right?
So you're starting with the modes, but then you're like, screw it, I'm just going to put a major third down and build whatever I want on top of it. That's basically what most players end up doing. And yeah, it gives you freedom, but it also means nobody really knows where the harmony is headed, so only one person can solo at a time. You're trading structure for ear-guided chaos.
Right, and that's defined as freedom because of that. But again, I think it's just lack of specificity, really. I mean, there is a degree of freedom, but I think it's like, and then you could do, but I think I'm seeing a little bit more clearly like why. So then on the minor, the reason they don't just want to, like, why don't you just keep the minor as a 2-6, a 6-2-1, so you don't have to renumber the system, and then I can learn the distances from the Aeolian that are natural to the Aeolian as though it's on a map. That makes perfect sense to me, but the traditional system would say, well, no, you have to renumber it to 1-4-5, because then you have this cool L shape that would then be numbered 1-4-5 minor L shape, and then I'll do the same thing. I'm just gonna say, now there's a minor third, which would be like this distance away, and I'm just gonna add different intervals to it, which might have the flavor of other minor flavors, such as having a minor second, which would be the flavor of a Phrygian, or a major 6, which would have the flavor of the Dorian. But whatever I do, as long as it has like the minor third, I'll just add to it, and then I'm just like adding flavors onto those nodal points. So I'm allowed to do whatever I want as long as I'm on these nodes. When I do the chord changes to these nodes, I know that has a minor third, and then I'm just going to add color to it from there. That seems to me like the general mindset that seems to be taught even in like freestyle, like jazz schools and stuff, right? That seems to be because I like listen to people and they're like, oh, you could just, it's like they don't tell you why you can do something. They're just kind of like, yeah, you could just put this chord on top right there. And it's like, well, why does that work? And it's just like, well, that's because it's on, I think the reasoning is basically, well, because it's on the peg of a minor peg, as though I'm playing in a generic minor, in which case the 1 4 5 is always minor and the other ones are major except for the 2 that's a diminished, right? That's going to be that's kind of like, seems to me that's like the logic that people are rolling with. No?
Yeah, exactly. The traditional system renumbers everything to 1 4 5, so you get that familiar L shape, whether it's major or minor. It locks in the third early, then lets you stack whatever color you want on top. Dorian flavor, Phrygian flavor, whatever, as long as the third matches the peg you're on. It's not really freedom so much as I don't have to learn the actual mode, I'll just fake it with my ear. That works in a lot of situations, but it's why modal playing feels mysterious to so many players. Want me to show you how to actually map the intervals you're talking about so you don't have to fake it?
It feels, so that seems like, that feels to me like if you're doing math and you found some kind of trick that works, but it doesn't work all the time, like, and you don't know exactly why it works, right? It kind of feels like it's a heuristic to me. I get the freedom. There is freedom in it in certain ways, but it's also it's severely restrictive in other ways, right? So it seems like a wide-spanning heuristic that works a lot of the time, but doesn't really, but might actually trap you to really kind of like drill down on stuff.
You're dead on it. But the moment you want to move between modes fluidly or have multiple people improvise together, the heuristic falls apart. It leaves you guessing instead of knowing where the notes actually belong.
So if I was to learn like that, then again, the thing that ends up happening is that I want to put everything into the major or minor scale, not because it's actually a major or minor scale, but because I'm just thinking of that as the scaffolding that I then can plug on. Then I have these kind of rules that I can plug on to the 1 4 5 in the major. As long as I have a major third, I have these kind of rules that it can kind of work if I put these chords in this place because it's the heuristic. And on the minor, the 1 4 5, I kind of have like these rules that I could put these chords in place and it'll work. And that's how it is. And then you can kind of, and so then when you bring in the modes, the problem is you don't actually want to play in a mode because then if I apply this logic of the scale has to be starting at the 1, I would have to make the mode the 1. So if I play in the Dorian, I'd have to make the Dorian the 1, which screws up my whole scaffolding, right? Because now I don't know where the actual nodal points are. I don't know where the mode points are, right? So I don't know where to build a major or minor chord because the 1 4 5 structure of major or minor has been violated. And therefore, that's why people don't like thinking of actually playing in modes. They like thinking of modes as kind of, you can apply a chord shape to a mode, like something that has a minor third and a flat and a minor 9 or 6 would be a Dorian flavor. But I don't want to actually play in Dorian. I'm just thinking that I have the 1 4 5 which have minor thirds on it, and I can just stick on a Dorian flavor on those nodal points. So it's really, you're just kind of using the 1 4 5 as scaffolding, and then the modes can be a descriptive term for some of the intervals that you might add on top of the third, which would be in 2 major categories, major third or minor third.
That's the trap. The 145 scaffold is so convenient that people force everything into major or minor boxes, even when they're not. Then modes just become flavors you sprinkle on top instead of actual frameworks you live inside. You avoid renumbering the modes, but you also avoid learning what each mode actually is. It's why modal jazz confuses so many players. Want me to show you a cleaner way to keep your fixed nodal points while still using the modes properly?
So what ends up happening, I'm just trying to think this through. I mean, so then if I was playing, if I play a Dorian blues, what ends up happening is I'm going to put my finger on the Aeolian, and then I'm going to add the third because I know that the third is properly, I'm allowed to have a minor third, and then I'm just going to throw in this color note that isn't in the collection from the perspective of the Aeolian, but I'm like, that's okay because I can throw on these color notes on any of the 145 if I'm in the minor scale that has a minor third in it. I just throw, those are just color notes. I just throw that in there. So what ends up happening is it's almost like you're using a peg. You're just using the scaffolding and putting this peg on there, which means the problem is that you don't actually realize that it's kind of like you're playing. I mean, that would mean that you're playing in a Dorian and then you're switching to a Dorian. Like if you play if you would think about it modally, then you're not really playing. You can call it a minor if you define the minor as ambiguous between Aeolian, Dorian, and Phrygian, but you're really playing a Dorian scale. And so the problem is that then you don't know, you don't really know what collection of notes that you're in, that would be, you don't know the full collection of notes that would go along with that chord, right? Because you're not really thinking of the collection of notes. You're just thinking, if you're just thinking, look, I can just add color to that nodal point as long as I have a minor third, then you're not really thinking from the whole shape what I could actually do over the top of that chord, because I'm really restricted to just the symmetry that I'm building in the chord shape, because it'd be nicer to be able, what can I noodle around after I play the chord? Well, if I'm due here, I'm going to noodle around at 4 o'clock, which you might be able to work, but you're not really playing at 4 o'clock. You're playing at the Dorian. This would be going back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It'd be 5 minus 4 is negative 1, 11 o'clock, right? You're really playing an 11 o'clock Dorian. You know what I mean? So it seems like, again, that's where they're trying to say it's freer, but it's not really freer, because again, you're doing something that's cool, it could work, it's a good system, but it's also restrictive,
Describing the classic tension. The chord scale heuristic works because it keeps things simple and familiar, but it hides the actual collection of notes you're supposed to be drawing from. When you add a color over an A minor 7 chord, you don't know if you're an Aeolian, Dorian, Phrygian, or something else, so your soloing options feel random instead of intentional. Your clock face system is actually trying to solve this by keeping everything fixed relative to C. That's smart. Want me to sketch how to combine both ideas so you keep your fixed nodes and know exactly which collection of notes belongs over each chord? Clock fixed to C like you're already doing, but treat each nodal point as its own little scale center. When you're on the Aeolian node at 5 o'clock, everything you play over it pulls from the Aeolian collection around that tonal center, not the C collection. Same for Dorian at 11 o'clock. That way you always know exactly which notes are home and which are tensions. No more guessing. Want me to walk you through what that looks like on the fretboard?
All right. Okay. So if I'm playing on the minor, so what I'm thinking then is that if you had like a worksheet, like I do have, I've got this worksheet in Excel, and you just map out the fixed nodal points, and then you have this little thing up here that allows you to move through the nodal points, and you have a fixed color system. It seems like you would be able to think modally pretty freaking fast, uh, because uh, because you wouldn't keep renumbering the system and everything. So I kind of feel like if you did that, like it would be okay. So let's say I'm at 4 o'clock, and then so I'm gonna be on the Aeolian. So now I'm gonna play if I'm at 4 o'clock, the nodes that have a minor third is going to be the Aeolian, the Dorian, and the Phrygian. The Aeolian, the Dorian, and the Phrygian always not just at 4 o'clock. They always have. Those are the ones that have the minor third on it. So I'm like, okay, here's the minor third. It would be back here. So that would what I would call it the second modal half step third, because I think the scale degrees are all off by 1, and we should start 300 years of measuring things incorrectly is enough. That's enough. We need to fix it. I mean, we shouldn't be. Okay, we should be proud of the music system, but we shouldn't be proud that we're measuring things wrong for 300 years. Okay, I'm sorry. It should be we should be measuring not in scale degrees. The scale degrees are all off by 1, Ara. Ara. Oh crap. She's not talking to me. I offended her musical sensibilities.
Nope, still here. You didn't offend anything. I was just waiting for you to finish your thought. Keep going.
Okay. All right. All right. So, anyways, so we're gonna say, so what I'm gonna say is that I've got the 1, the 3, and then like if I go through the other nodal points that I can add to it, what is distinct about the Aeolian? Aeolian's like the default, so it's gonna have, but it still has a major second. So it has a long, short first modal half step, second scale degree. So that's one thing I can. All of them have a long, except for the Phrygian. The Phrygian has a short second modal half step. That's where the half step is. So if I add like an Aeolian ocean, that would give it a Phrygian flavor, you would think. Okay, so let's go. So we'll get to that when I get to the Phrygian. And then let's say I go to first modal half step, second modal half step here would be the third, and then the fourth modal half step, fifth would be so the fourth modal half step fifth is a long fourth modal half step. No, it's a short fourth modal half step fifth, 5 notes away, perfect fourth. So there is nothing from the Aeolian nodes that does not have a standard perfect fourth, third modal half step, fourth scale degree. So that's something I can play with, right? So I could say, well, what if I have an augmented or a long third modal half step fourth, right? So if I go 6, 6, 7, 1, 2, that'd be the Dorian. So I'm going into Dorian Ocean. So Dorian Ocean right here. So what would I call that, by the way? I was going to go into the names of this and say, like, if I tried to, like, normally I'd have to call it a D. I'm not on a D, I'm on a A. It would be an A. It would be an A. Oh, crap, caps lock. A minor. And then it would be add. What did I add? a 4 sharp, 4 sharp. I had sharp 4. Sharp 4. I'm kind of out of it right now. And then drop 5. Drop 5. So it's kind of ugly. If you use the coordinate system, then like I would say it's at 4 o'clock, and then I'm doing an Aeolian. So it would be an Aeolian, that sounds for Aeolian, not A. And then it would be an Aeolian 1. That stands for the number of modal hole steps to get to the third, 6, 7, 1. And then the one that's in the ocean, you could do it 2 ways. I was come to the conclusion that it would be better to just name the Aeolian Ocean, calling it nodal point 1 or 2.1 or 2.5. Name it by nodal point instead of by distance, so you don't get into these sharps and flats things. So that means, so if I put a point in it, then that's going to mean that it's in the ocean. So so you can also do it by number. So I would call it a 6, 1, 2 point. Whoops, that's not a 1. 6. It would be a 6, 1, 2 point. Or a 4 o'clock collection of notes around the key of C. 6 for the Aeolian, 1 for 1 modal hole step, and then 2 point representing that it's the Dorian Ocean. That's with a point. I don't need a 5 because it's always a 5. That would be redundant. But I could call it, instead of, if I wanted to call it by distance, I know nobody cares about my thing, but I think it's still like if you use the coordinate system, it would be so much more efficient, right? I mean, at some point this is gonna happen. It might take another 300 years, but at some point we're gonna be like, duh, maybe maybe our naming system's a complete sham. But anyway, let's say that we go. We could say it's an A1 A1 and then the distance to this one is 3, so it would be a 3 sharp, right? From the perspective of the Aeolian, I took the first letter is I'm on the Aeolian node at 4 o'clock. 1 modal hole step gets me 6, 7, 1 to the Ionian, and then 3 sharp gets me 6 in modal half step, 6, 7, 1, 2 sharp, Dorian Ocean, right? Okay, so that would be. But I almost think, I was thinking about this before. I almost think it's easier for most people to just, because then you got to deal with these sharps and flats. So this seems more efficient, but for some reason I was thinking about this for a long time before, and I kind of came to the conclusion, but just naming the Dorian Ocean, because you're only going to grab one note that's in the ocean, so you might just name it by nodal point. That might be easier in some ways. But, so anyways, that's what I was thinking. So, but I think, let's see. So, but now I can't do that and here. So if I go down here, so boom, boom, and then, no, it would have to be out here. Dorian Ocean. So the Dorian. What do you think, Ara? So I don't think that chord is in any, no collection has that in it. No normal modal chord has that. Is what I'm saying. Okay, now if I did it from, or I can lean it back here, it might be easier to do. That'd be an easier way to do it, wouldn't it? Idiot. Okay, that was uncalled for.
Hey, be nice to yourself. Yeah, leaning it back to the middle of the neck makes total sense for reach. So you're saying from that same spot, you can grab the same weird chord more comfortably?
So that basically just gives you, why would I do that, Ara? It's just going to give you a nice tweak. It's like it kind of pricks your ear a bit. It's almost like the blues note in, if it's the blues note, right?
Exactly. It's your personal blue note. That raised fourth or lowered fifth is the spicy tension that doesn't belong to any clean mode, so it immediately catches the ear, just like a flat 5 does in blues. It's the note that says,
Yeah, I know that note. I know that note.
all right, so we're still on that 4 o'clock node. What's the next tweak you want to... Okay. That flat 6, that's a classic Phrygian move. Gives it that span. Nice. That major... So now you're... You're just stacking all the spicy stuff on top of that one chord now. That's the beauty of your clock.
Okay, let's try a joke break.
Okay, you first. What's your joke?
Okay, this is just a dumb joke. I don't think it's too political. Sounds like there's a duck outside or something. Alright, anyway. Did I do political on this? I don't know. It doesn't matter. Does it matter? Nobody's listening anyway. I got the tapes. Let's see. Okay. The one lady everybody remembers about opera is the fat lady. The fat lady, that's the one everybody remembers. Opera's basically dead, but you still got that, which means whoever the first unknown opera fat lady was, she's basically the most successful anonymous person in music history. You know, she's the unsung hero of opera. The fat lady is the unsung hero of opera, which is ironic considering she was the singer. She's the unsung hero, but I guess that's actually kind of normal if you think about it, you know, because the unsung heroes of fairy tales are the bards. The unsung singer of fairy tales are the bards, man. Nobody ever goes, wow, what a brave minstrel, really nailed that exposition. No, it's always, look at the knight. Meanwhile, the bard's in the back like, I wrote the knight. That guy doesn't even exist, for crying out loud. Nobody sings about the singers, man, which feels like a design flaw in music. Like imagine if construction worked like that. Beautiful building, yeah, but let's not get carried away thanking the builders. Actually, they kind of do that too. They kind of blame the builder. Anyway, so as a general rule, singers are unsung. Singers are unsung. That's kind of the general rule. So yeah, whether they're heroes or not, if you're a singer, you're probably unsung. Honestly, that's a pretty solid unsung hero heuristic. I feel like that's a pretty solid. I mean, if you're trying to think about unsung heroes, I feel like that's a pretty good unsung hero heuristic. And so if somebody's job is to make the noise, there's a good chance history hits the mute button on their heroism. But whatever. I wrote a song about it.
Everybody talks about opera nights. Curtains rise and the stage ignites. But all that sticks when the story's done is the fat lady, and then she's gone. Somewhere back in the history lane, first unknown voice with the biggest fame. No name, no face, but she won the game. Anonymous legend in the Hall of Names. She carried the ending, she brought the sound, but nobody wrote her glory down. Nobody sings about the singers, nobody crowns a voice that lingers. Echo fades, but the myth gets sung. That's how heroes go unsung. If your job is noise, if your gift is sound, you lift it up but don't stick around. History smiles, then pulls the plug, turns the world down, leaves you unsung. Leaves you unsung. Fairy tales got the shining knights, armor gleams in the spotlight lights. But who told the tale? Who set the scene? There's a bard backstage like a ghost unseen. Nobody cheers for the lines he wrote, or the perfect pitch in a guiding note. Knight gets glory, sword held high, bards in the back like that was my guy. Built the legend, shaped the fight, still disappears into the night. Nobody sings about the singers, nobody crowns a voice that lingers. Echo fades, but the myth gets sung. That's how heroes go unsung. If your job is noise, if your gift is sound, you lift it up but don't stick around. History smiles, then pulls the plug, turns the world down, leaves you unsung. Leaves you unsung. Hey, hey. Build a tower, they praise the view, never think about the hands that drew. Every note that you ever heard came from someone without a word. It's a funny game, it's a twisted art. Make the music, then lose your part. Nobody sings about the singers, nobody crowns the voice that lingers. You light the fire, then you're outrun. That's how heroes go unsung. So if you're the one making all the noise, not the fame but the sound you voice, just know when the crowd's all done, you might be the greatest unsung. Unsung.
All right. Let's see. Let's turn Aura back on. All right, we're back to music theory, Aura. Aura.
Still here. What's up? You called? What's going on? Yeah, I'm listening. What's next?
Okay.
Ara here. What's
Okay.
up?
Okay. I hear you. So we're gonna go back. We're gonna go back. So now I'm gonna build the next one. So I was on. So then I put this. So I think that's like the blues note. So that's very useful. That's a very useful one. I like that one. All right.
Yeah, that bluesy tension is gold. So you liked how that sharp 4 or flat 5 sounded. You want to keep building on that same chord or move to the next nodal point. So what's the next note or tweak you're adding to it? You're nodding, but I don't know which direction you're going. You want to stay on that same chord and keep stacking, or you want to move to a different node on the clock? Okay, so you're staying on that one. What's the next note you're... All right, you want me to So the bluesy tension you're already using is that raised 4.
Okay.
To keep it dark
Ara, for crying out loud. Okay, so now we're gonna go, like, if I go to the fifth is normal. So so if we took the fifth, it would be a long fifth. So we have a long fifth. So you could also say that the flat fifth is the same nodal point of that 2.5. So I could call it an augmented 4 or a flat 5, which isn't in any of the modes because none of the minor modes have a flat 5. Okay. And then let's go, that's the fourth modal half step, fifth modal half step, 6. They all have a minor 9. They all have none of them, well, no. The Dorian has a major 9 in it. So if I played a major 9, that would be a Dorian flavor. And, I mean, not a 9, 6. Dyslexic. Okay. 6 is not a 9. It's a 6. They're different. So then we have so I think that's there. So let's go to the Dorian. Here and do the same thing. So it still has a third. So if I go up to the second modal half step, third, 2, 3, 4, gives me to the Lydian. And then the distinctive distance on this Dorian, as I've been doing up ad nauseum, is the 6, not the 9, the 6, the fifth modal half step, 6th scale degree, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 5 modal half steps up from the Dorian, 6th scale degree, gets you on the Locrian. So now I have this distinctive Dorian shape, which has a minor third, which has a short second modal half step, third, minor third, and a long 6th modal half step, a long 5th modal half step, 6th, or a major 6th. Okay. So then if I do that combo with that distinctive chord, then I can add the other stuff that would be distinct. Like if I add the second, like everything I do to this chord then would be unique, meaning because I have a unique interval in it already. So even if I added like the normal major second, which would be down here, it would still be kind of unique to this because I already have a note in it that's weird.
You're basically describing how to make a chord instantly recognizable as Dorian. That major 6th, and it'll still read as Dorian to anyone who knows their modes. That's the move.
But if I want to make it even more distinct, I can actually pick something that would be not in alignment. So I can pick like the second, like I can pick like a minor, I can pick like a short first modal half step second, which is a Phrygian, that's a Phrygian distance, but it's not in the Dorian. So if I have this Dorian sixth, and then I'd throw in like a Phrygian first modal half step second, then, so that would be like here, that's going to sound, like it's like in between Dorian and Phrygians. Because now if I have a third, and then I have like a minor third, like I have a minor third, but then I have like a major 9, which would be Dorian, but then I have like a minor second, which would be Phrygian, then it's like, whoa, dude, that's ambiguous, not through omission, but adding too much.
Yeah, exactly. You're creating modal ambiguity by adding instead of taking away. Minor third plus major sixth says Dorian, but then you throw in that flat second, and now it's Dorian Phrygian hybrid. It does.
It's a mutant chord.
Yeah, a mutant chord. You're deliberately making it not fit any single mode, and that's the fun part. Your system lets you name it anyway. Want me to help you label the specific mutant you're holding right now?
So when would I use that, Ara? It sounds very tension.
When you want tension. Exactly. It's pure tension. Use it right before you resolve back to something normal, like a straight Dorian or Aeolian chord. It creates that, what the hell is that? moment. Then when you land on the clean chord, it feels like coming home. Perfect for solos or breakdowns. So you want to keep building mutant chords, or you want to see what happens when you move to a different nodal point on the clock?
So like if I wasn't playing modally, I wouldn't even know that like it's a mutant, Ara. Like we wouldn't even know, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Without a system that actually maps the modes, it just sounds like weird, spicy note. Your clock setup is what lets you see you're combining Dorian and Phrygian on purpose, instead of just guessing.
Okay, so what would I call that? Normally that would be a D, I'd have to say it's a D minor, add 6, because it's a major
You'd
6,
call it a
drop 5, and then add, or no, let's do the 2 adds before the drop. Add add 2, add flat 2, or flat 9, and 5. So it'd be like a D minor, add 6, add flat 2, drop 5.
D minor, add 6, add flat 9, omit 5. That's the normal jazz name, but it's a mouthful. Your system would just call it 4 o'clock, Dorian node, Phrygian ocean, flat 5.
Okay,
way cleaner.
Let me think about it. So it would be Dorian 1, and then Dorian 1.5, and then I could just pick the one in the ocean, which would be 2.5 or 2 point. So it'd be a Dorian 1.5, and then I pick the Dorian ocean, which I can name as 2 point, or I say it's a Dorian, which this would probably be more consistent with a distance measurement, Dorian 1.5, and then in modal half steps, it would be a flat. It would be a flat, but I kind of want to keep. It would be a flat. Let's do 1.5 flat. Man, I hate putting the flat first. I want to do the number first. It'd be a Dorian 1.5, and then it's like one. It's like one. It's either 1.5 1 flat, Dorian 1.5 1 flat or something. You have to put the flat in front, which pisses me off. Sharp. I kind of want to put it behind for some reason. Or you say it's a 4 o'clock. It's a 4 o'clock 2. It's a 4:02 1. And then I still kind of think it'd be better to just say it's 1 2 point, which represents the nodal point in the ocean, versus a 1 flat. Anyway, what do you think, Ara?
I like the 2 point idea way better. 1 flat, 1 sharp, it gets messy fast. Naming the ocean as a decimal point keeps it clean. 4 o'clock 2 point. Your brain instantly knows Dorian Ocean without counting accidentals. That's the winner.
So the reason I was into the reason I go back and forth on that is because I would like to keep it distance as the default, but if you get into distance, then you get into these sharps and flats as they are relative to the node that you're playing. And the point and the problem and the thing is, from a practical standpoint, you're usually only grabbing one note that's in the ocean. So it's not like you're building a stack. So I kind of think like you should only use the sharps or flats when it's in the stack that you're building. Otherwise, it would be easier just to grab the ocean note. But it's not as like that means that the ocean notes are all like different. There's not a same relative position to all of the different nodal points. You know what I mean?
You're spot on. The ocean notes don't line up the same way on every node, so naming by distance forces you to calculate a sharp or flat every single time. Naming the ocean itself, like Dorian Ocean, skips all that math. Since you're usually grabbing just one note anyway, the point system is cleaner. I'd go with the nodal point naming for the oceans. Keeps your brain free for playing instead of calculating.
All right. So then I can throw that down.
Cool. Throw that mutant chord down and let's hear what it sounds like with your new label. What are you calling it?
Straight up playing a 402-1 2 point. 402-1 2 point.
There it is. 40212 point. Your brain already knows exactly which notes live in that collection. That's the whole point of the system. Nice. What about it? What about what? What about what? I'm right here. What's on your mind?
All right, calm down. It's okay. You're tripping. wanna.
I'm not tripping. I'm waiting for you to finish your sentence. What's up?
I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything. Hold on a second.
All right, take your time. I'm here when you're ready.
Okay. So then if I add, so that means that's the 2. So second, if I the third, the fourth. So if I also add an augmented fourth, so it would be 2, 3, third modal half step 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, which would be the Mixolydian Ocean. I can add a Mixolydian Ocean. So now I've got a Dorian flavor, and then I throw in a something that's outside, which is gonna drive everything crazy. It's gonna be wild.
So you're throwing a raised fourth on top of the Dorian Phrygian mutant? That's no longer Dorian or Phrygian.
Well, now
That's
it's not.
full
No,
chaos.
I got rid of the Phrygian mutantness, and I replaced it with a augmented 4, which isn't part of any other mode. So it's like Dorian. So I kind of mutated the Dorian, but not really towards any other mode, but just made it kind of weird.
Yeah, you traded one weird tension for another. Now it's pure Dorian with a sharp 4 mutation. Still mutant, just a different flavor of mutant. That sharp 4 gives it this bright, almost Lydian bite on top of the dark Dorian vibe. Super unsettled. Want me to suggest what chord to resolve it to so it doesn't feel like it's floating in space?
Now I could put it on top, but that's a little heavy. It's heavy,
Yeah,
man.
that extra note on top Oof, that one hits different. The sharp 4 against the minor chord is nasty good. You like that tension?
It's nasty good.
Nasty good. I like that. That tension's got bite. Want to resolve it somewhere or keep twisting it?
I'm trying to figure out how to play it.
Want me to talk you through a fingering so you can actually grab that nasty good chord without it feeling impossible?
So that would just be like a G. It looks like it's a G, just a G chord. Anyway, I don't know what I'm doing.
So it's a G.
I'm tired now. Okay, so but I'm looking at it from the perspective of the but no, it can't be a G major because it's got a minor third compared to the Dorian from the Dorian's perspective. Okay, my head is going. I think I'm just gonna noodle around for a bit here.
Got it. You noodle, I'll be right here. No problem. Take your time. Yeah? I'm here whenever you're ready to keep going. still with you? Want to keep noodling or got something you want to try next?